Hello, welcome to Handmade by Julia Quinn and my weekly video showing you a fun new card technique or idea or project. This week, you have to excuse me, I have been a little bit crook this week, so I might sound a little bit funny. I do apologise. But this week I have a card to share with you that we had at our recent Cuppa and Cards at Markula, which was a fun day. Really enjoyable. But my class that day was about sharing projects to use your designer series paper. Okay, and when I was planning my class, I discovered I didn't have any plain envelopes left in my stash. And I always give card making kits to include envelopes. So I pulled out these guys, which are the striped and textured cards and envelopes. So they come with beautiful envelopes and coordinating cards, which are actually big enough to fit a 6x4 piece of scrapbooking memories and more cards, but also make a really lovely size for cards. But the card I wanted to make only uses half of a card, so I've cut the actual card base in half and then cut the other half in half again, and I'll show you what I did with them. So the original card comes with like this, exactly like the envelope, that lovely striped texture, white on the inside and red on the outside. The actual, let me show you in the catalogue where they are. My voice is a little bit hoarse, so I do apologise. The actual cards are the textured stripes, mix and match cards and envelopes. They come with 10 cards and 10 envelopes, 5 of each of 2 designs. So you get 5 of the beautiful real red and 5 of the beautiful misty moonlight cards. Great value. They're only, I think, let me look at that again. Excuse me. Now I've lost my page. Quick and easy options. They're only $17.50 in Australia for 10 cards and envelopes. That's only $1.75 each for a gorgeous card and envelope. So where could you go wrong, really? Great value. Okay, so I'll just put my envelopes out of the way, put the card I'm going to do just over here, and my other little bits and pieces. I'm using the beautiful designer series paper and actually the stamps and then the bundle from the Florals and Bloom suite. This one here, lovely Florals and Bloom. So I'm using some of this paper, which works really nicely with the real red cards and envelopes, and I'm also going to be using the Pretty Florals stamp set and dies, and also the greeting from the Sweet Blooms, okay, to make my card. Now my paper here is 12 inches long, which is how long your paper comes, and I've cut it in half, so that's at 6 inches. I've measured just up the side 2 inches, and I've also scored every 2 inches along the base. So I've scored 2 inches, 4 inches, 8 inches, 10 inches, and the paper folds in both sides. Hello, Maria. Thank you so much for joining me. It's lovely that you can join me. Okay, so 12 inches long, your piece of cardstock by 6 inches high, scored at 2, 4, 8 and 10 inches. And I've measured it 2 inches up from the bottom of both sides and then cut in a diagonal right across from there to the center panel. And then that gets adhered onto my card base here, which is half of the excuse me, card envelope. I haven't been talking all day long because I've been crafting, and because I've been a little bit ill, now my voice is going to change and I'll start coughing probably. My asthma might play up, but hopefully we'll be able to get through this before I have to stop talking completely. Okay, these are the 2 pieces of paper that I chopped off the corners. And to avoid wasting them, excuse me, I'm going to reuse them by adding them to the front of my card somehow or other. This way, that's right, adding them inside my card like this. There you go. Took me a little minute to work out what I was supposed to be doing there. So there you go, they go like that. Okay, just so that you can use up that lovely paper, gives you another contrast. That one actually goes on that side, that one goes on that side. The reason why I can tell is the length from there to there. Okay, so I'll just add my adhesive, especially to those pointy edges, and line up my point right on that corner there, and come across to the center. Shift you down just a touch. There we go. And then this one as well. Now you can use this paper either way. You could have put the secret C part on the inside if you liked. I just like to see all the pretty flowers on the inside as a lovely surprise. Okay, there we go. And then I will fold up my little gatefold again, now that I've got my... There's your basic card there. On the inside of my card, I'm going to put... I didn't measure that very well, did I? I might have to put more glue on that bit. I'm going to put my... layer my mat down there. Now I'm going to do some stamping for inside there. And I'll also be stamping on this one, and that's all for my die cutting and my label. Okay. Now stamping, as I said, I'm going to use a greeting from this, and this is one of my favourite greetings. You make me smile. I think it's something I can use for every sort of card that I wish to send. Okay, so I'm going to stamp in my Real Red, which is the same as the cardstock, and I will get my piercing mat just to make a better image. There we go, you make me smile. And on my white panel, which goes inside my card, I'm just going to add a little bit of pretty flowers to make it look pretty. So I'll start off with Granny Apple Green from, I'll leave you there for a second, Granny Apple Green for my leaves. This stamp set, Pretty Florals, is a great stamp set. It works as a 2-step stamp so that you can build up your pictures bit by bit. That's all the Granny Apple Green I need. Now I need some Pretty in Pink for the next layer of my flowers. I'm going to use these ones. Now these leaves work with both these flowers and these flowers, so you can get 2 totally different looks. I can show you actually what the other ones look like as well. Just going to stamp my Pretty in Pink there, and then the last stamp is this little one here, and it goes straight over the top of my Pretty in Pink to give the flowers definition and petals. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? I didn't look at that very well, did I? Okay, so back with my Granny Apple Green and the stalks. Thank goodness I've got double-sided cardstock. Pop you on there. And I said I'd show you the other flowers, didn't I? So we can do ours a little bit different for this card, and I'll pop that one on with the Pretty in Pink, and this works exactly the same as the other one. Close you up. Close up my green as well. And, oops, the last one, last layer, I'll just pop it on the same side of my block. As with the other flower, it lines up exactly over the top. I've made it hard for myself to see, but there we go. So those are the, and you can also do the same strategy with, in this step set. So we've got those flowers, which are those ones there. These flowers, which are the open ones, but I've got a little line there, so I'm going to choose this side. And you can also do the same sort of thing with those flowers and this bit of greenery as well. And that stalk there works very nicely with that little flower and the detail one as well. Great stamp set. Very nice for putting your flowers together. Okay, so now cover up that beautiful stamping and pop this one on the inside of my card. There we go. I'm just continuing the theme of the beautiful paper that I've got on my card there. Now, excuse me, I have to fussy cut my title, which surprisingly doesn't take too long. And you could leave this in a rectangle if you liked, or a label, but I do think a fussy cut greeting does make it, making it fussy cut does make it stand out a little bit better. Okay. The secret with fussy cutting is always, as much as possible, keep your scissors still and move the paper into them. So feed the paper into your scissors. And when I was teaching little preschoolers, what I taught the children was thumb to the roof, elbow to the floor. That will give you much better control over your scissors, okay? It is, if you're trying to use these sorts of scissors and you're a left-hander, far more difficult because the bevel on the scissors is favoured towards right-handers. Okay, there's my title. Now I have to get my punch. Which I forgot to bring to my desk in my preparations, I apologise, and punch out using the To The Point label punch, just to give me an anchorage point for my greeting there. And I might put that up a fair bit, up the top there. Do I do it this way or this way? I think I'll make a feature of that pointy piece. So I'm going to flip that over and just put my adhesive right, oops, sorry, got that up a bit high, right on that left-hand side. So I don't want any adhesive on the right side because I don't want to glue my card together. That would be tragic. And now I'm looking for adhesives. Here we go, got some right here. Some adhesives to stick my greeting on. I'm using the edge pieces, which are rather fabulous. Just tear that off, pop that in there, and be very careful. Again, I don't put any adhesive down on this side of the card, so that dictates that it's going over that way. And then the last little thing, I'm going to use up the leftover of my card base here and a little bit of two-tone Granny Apple Green to do some die cutting with these lovely flowers. Those and this, and these are the dies that coordinate with the pretty florals. So in that stamp set I showed you before, you can cut out all of those stamps that we did together. So you can stamp, do your two-step stamping, and then you've got a die that coordinates exactly with them and cuts out all three at the same time. So that's a bit of a time saver with your stamping, isn't it? just pop all this into my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine over here. Run that through. And then we've got the finishing touches of our page, our card. There we are. And my petals. Here we are. Oops, sorry. Pop out my petals. I love this Take Your Pick tool. I love the way our dies have little holes that are easy to poke out. And this one as well. And then I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue and pop that on the back of each of these little flower bases. Less is more, and a little bit on this stem. Now I learnt something just recently that I find it much easier to glue with that glue if I leave it a bit and let it dry a little bit so it's not quite so wet. I tend not to make as much of a mess. But on these guys I'm going to put some dimensionals to make them stand up. So I'll just tear a couple of my edge pieces here. And somehow or other, one got stuck to my finger, I think. Here it is. This one as well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to stick on is my little stems, just down here. Then I'm going to stick on these guys at the base of each of my flowers, like that. And they are different shapes and sizes, but they reasonably interchangeable on the flowers, I have discovered. There we go. And then just add my flowers to my card. Oh, and then I'll need to put some bling on. Just going to tuck. Hang on, no, it's stuck, so I'm not going to tuck it underneath. I'm going to stick it on top. This one I can stick it on top there. And am I too high? Yes, I am too high. Oops, I apologise. Please forgive me for being too high there. Can I put this underneath? Yep. So now I have to go back and correct this one and stick that over the top. There we go. There's my little bunch of flowers. You Make Me Smile, and somewhere along here, some two-tone sparkle gems. These work brilliantly with the Secret Sea, I think. So I'm going to put a couple down there and one more up there on my card. There you go. There's my double gate fold using Designer Series paper and also using your cards and envelopes to create a fun card to show off your Designer Series paper. Oops, just discovered something else I shouldn't have stuck. So just peeling off that dimensional. There we go. Problem solved. There we go. You Make Me Smile. And no dimensional stuck. Thank goodness. I hope you enjoyed that. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and I'll see you next time. Bye.